for joining me for our monthly Hudson Valley North team meeting. I'm so happy to see so many of you here. We always get a great turnout, and I'm always appreciative that you all come and hang out with me for an hour on a Tuesday morning during the month. So we're going to go over some exciting news today, and at some point we're going to have Lori join us and talk a little bit about some compliance things, and then we'll hopefully quickly recover from that, and I'll give you some really exciting information after we go over that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we will get started. All right, you can all see my screen, right? Okay, cool. All right, so I wanted to start by welcoming Lisa Niosi to the Hudson Valley North office. She is your new MCA, which in Keller Williams terms means Market Center Administrator. So Lisa is the one that will be working on processing your commission checks and handling agent billing and talking to you about where you're at in terms of your cap, how close you are to capping. That's a great question that you can ask Lisa. She is the keeper of all of the records in the office. So anything to do with your own personal records, like if you need to update a phone number, an email address, a mailing address, Lisa is a good go-to for that. As she starts to get up and running, she will also be able to work with you on putting together budgets if you're looking to put together a budget for 2021. Lisa has a long history of working in financial departments all across the Hudson Valley, and most recently she worked at the Chamber, the Dutchess County Chamber of Commerce. She worked there for many years in their finance department, so she's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to running a successful real estate business or successful business in general from a financial standpoint. So we welcome Lisa. I'm so excited to have her come on board. Some of you may have already heard from her in the past couple of weeks, but if you haven't yet, I'm sure you will. And if you stop in the office, make sure you pop into her office, which is right across the hall from mine, to say hi to her. The other thing that I wanted to show you is if you don't have this bookmarked yet, I would recommend doing it because it's the easiest way to figure out who does what, right? I know that a lot of times we get the question of, I'm not sure who I ask about this. Who do I go to for X, Y, or Z? So I'm going to share what that spreadsheet looks like. It looks like this. And you can see across going down column A are all of the tasks. And then across the top is your leadership team that you have here supporting you. So obviously I'm the team leader. We have Lisa as the Market Center Administrator. We're making progress on a new agent services coordinator. So we'll send out an announcement as soon as we have a formal person in that position again. Compliance director is Lori Burns. Beth Elfeld is our principal broker. And then we have the services of Scott Leroy Marketing as well, who can help you set up your database. They can help you create marketing materials. They can help you set up your agent website and your apps. So I would recommend, if you have not yet bookmark this page. It can be a great resource to help you navigate all of the inner workings of what goes on as you're running a real estate business and need our help. So you'll see there's a long list of things. And then down here we have our KWHV group, which I just want to show quickly as well as a reminder, because I've gotten a couple of questions on this in the past couple of weeks. This is kwhvgroup.com. It's where we have centralized all three of our market centers, all of the information for all of them onto one website. So if you're looking for the link for the concierge services, it's right up here on this tab. You can choose listing management, transaction management, marketing materials, which is a coming soon service that we will have coming soon. And so that's a great, that's the quick link to get right into there. There are a lot of different links on this page to help you, including links to all of the MLSs that we belong to, command help, 66-day challenge that can help you with some of the technology, different shortcuts to some of the KW things, and our class library for past classes if you've missed them. Oh, hi, Brian. I see your message. No, this is the Hudson Valley North team meeting, the New City Market Center. If you go onto our group, our Hudson Valley group calendar, you should be able to find the one that says HVR and click there, and that will be the link for that meeting. Okay, so this is the hvgroup.com, another good website to save. So if you wanted to bookmark the Who Does What spreadsheet, I created a short link for you. So it's down here, bit.ly/who-does-what@KWHV North. You have to make sure these letters are capitalized. It is case sensitive if you're going to type it in that way. Okay, so welcome, Lisa. We're so excited to have you on board, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with you as part of our leadership team here in Kingston. All right, so now it's usually my favorite part of the meeting where I get to celebrate some of your accomplishments. So I want to take a minute and say congratulations to Beth. She was our top agent for listings taken volume for the month of October. So congratulations, Beth, great job. I know how busy and hard you've been working over the past couple of months. And so congratulations, this is a great accomplishment. In addition to everything that you do to help us here in the Market Center as one of our principal brokers, you're also running quite a significant book of real estate business. So congratulations on that. And anybody that is not familiar with what Beth does as the principal broker, she can be the go-to person when you have issues dealing with your clients, if you have issues dealing with other real estate agents and other brokerages, if you have questions about transaction management or how to manage a deal, or questions around the logistics of working with buyers and sellers, Beth can be a great go-to for that. She also serves on the board of the Columbia Green Northern Duchess MLS, and so she is a wealth of resources, and as you can see, a very successful real estate agent. So I have all the trust in the world that the advice that she's able to help you guys with is really valuable and spot on. So congratulations to Beth. Let me see. Lisa, if you can just do me a favor and watch the chat and let me know if there's any questions. That way, that'll make it easy. And then I want to say congratulations to the Quintana team. Good job, Lee and Alex. You are the top team for listings taken volume for the month of October. Lee and her team listed over $4.5 million in volume in the month of October alone. So congratulations. I'm sure you've seen some of Lee's listings come on the market. Her, along with our other teams, are listing a good amount of market share. So congrats, Lee. Keep up the great work. I'm really excited for you. And this is a great accomplishment. Okay. How do I get this thing to go up here? There, that's much easier. Okay, so you might have seen this posted on our social media, but these are our top individuals based on sold volume for October 2020. So you know that we send out these lists and this social media posts and emails every month celebrating our top individuals for sold volume each month. So join me in saying congratulations to all 10 of these top producing real estate agents. Great job. We together as a Market Center sold over, I think, approximately 80 houses in the month of October only. So we are doing a very large amount of business in the area, and every month we're seeing our numbers continue to increase because of the great business you guys are putting together. So congratulations to all of our top individuals for sold volume for 2020. And congratulations to our top teams for sold volume for October 2020. Great job to all, and again, the hard work of everybody in the office is really helping us set the tone and quickly gain market share across all three of the markets that we mainly cover here in Hudson Valley North, which is Ulster County, Greene County, and Dutchess County. So congratulations to everybody. Okay, so speaking of our numbers, right, this is where we're currently standing in the Ulster County MLS and the Greene County. So the top picture is the rankings in the Ulster County MLS. If we remove the non-MLS office, which we always remove because it's a smattering, for lack of a better term, of different real estate brokers that don't belong to the Ulster MLS. So we take them out of the running. We are currently the #4 office in enclosed volume in Ulster County. So congratulations. It has been a very rapid change that we've been going up the ranks, and I'm looking forward to being able to say in short order that we are in the next top 3, top 2, and ultimately #1 position in Ulster County. And the same can be said in Greene County. We are also the #4 office currently in Greene County. So congratulations to our agents doing business in both counties. You're taking significant market share, and a lot of you are doing a very significant, books of business right now, and it's showing up in the numbers. So congratulations. This is a great accomplishment, particularly for an office that has been open at this point less than a year. So great job, guys. You all give yourselves all a pat on the back and a round of applause, because really in less than a year to be within the top 10 is a great accomplishment, but to be in the position that we're at really goes to the hard work that you've all put in this year to grow your real estate businesses. So congratulations on that. So like I mentioned, in October, our office had over 80 closings. That is an amazing accomplishment. Congratulations. So that was just the month of October, and we're seeing the numbers are up for November and December again. And I believe we're going to end the year in a very strong position in the market as a whole. So congratulations on that. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention is that as many of you know, every month when we close out our books, after we pay all of our bills, what's left over is our profit, right, for the month. And that profit is split between the ownership group in the office and the profit sharing pool. Those are associates that qualify for the profit sharing pool because they've made the introduction to Keller Williams to an associate who's made the decision to join us. Year to date, across our three market centers, our 3 market centers in New City, in Middletown, and our office here in Kingston, we have profit shared over $500,000 back to just our agents locally here in the Hudson Valley. So I just wanted to say congratulations to anybody that is receiving profit share. We know that profit share hits the bank account on the 21st of the month every month. And so look out this month. I know we had a great profit share month in October, which will be paid out on the 21st of this month. If this is something you are not participating in yet, this is a great way to get passive income for yourself. And I think in a year, particularly like 2020, where multiple streams of income can become a very important aspect to growing your business, right? I think that it can be a really powerful way to insulate yourself as the market shifts around, and it's additional opportunity to create passive income streams for your business. If you are interested in growing your profit share tree or want to talk to me further about how you can get a piece of this profit share pie, please let me know, and I'd be more than happy to bring you in on that conversation, because the money's here, and this is, just locally across our 3 offices. So great job to everybody who's participated in profit share, and if you're interested, please let me know, and I'm more than happy to talk to you more about how you can get your own piece of that. Okay, so I wanted to take a minute and introduce you to your new Agent Leadership Council for 2021. So for those of you that are new to the company or newly licensed, the ALC is our Agent Leadership Council in the office. They are comprised of top producing agents in our top 20%. And they essentially work, the closest comparison that I usually use is they essentially work as the board of directors for the office. So we meet monthly with these agents and we share with them the Market Center's strategic plan, the goals and the vision for the office. And then we connect with them as the liaison to the agent group in the office to help make sure that any decisions that we're making for the office or our group of 3 offices are made with our agents in mind to create win-win solutions. So every year our Agent Leadership Council is picked in October and they begin officially in November. So the term runs from November until October. That way the new ALC coming in is able to help us with our business planning for the Market Center. So join me in saying welcome to the 6 members of our 2021 Agent Leadership Council, Vicki, Davina, Lee, Patty, Heather, and Beth. As many of you know, Vicki, Heather, Patty, and Beth were part of our 2020 ALC, and thankfully they've all decided that they would like to join for another year and to continue to help us grow as a market center. I'm grateful to them for that. And I'm very excited to have Davina and Lee join forces with us as well. I think we're going to have a great Agent Leadership Council. So one of the things that the ALC is going to be doing is this week we're in our business planning mode here in the Market Center. And so we are going to be meeting with these 6 leaders over the next 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, where they are going to help us create the strategic plan for the Market Center going into 2021. We're also going to help them with their own business plans and all together set ourselves up to hit the ground running for 2021. One thing to keep in mind, and this year was obviously tough with COVID to be able to do this at a high level, and I'm confident we will at some point be able to be back in person in 2021, hopefully. One of the things that the ALC really does is they help us run committees in the Market Center. Okay, and the committees are how we get a lot of the things done that we want to get done. So each one of these members are going to be a chair of one of the committees in the Market Center, and you'll be hearing more about this. And I would encourage everybody to take a minute and once the information comes out over the next couple of weeks and pick which committees you would like to participate on. So we have committees for growth. We have committees for the education calendar. We have a committee for the technology. We have a committee for finances that can talk to you about becoming more financial literate and also working with us on some of the financial aspects of the Market Center. We also have our community service committee, where we pick local charities that we want to give back to. The fundraising committee also helps us run Red Day, which is our national day of leadership, of community service and leadership that we do every May. So the community service committee is going to spearhead that effort. And then also the last one, which is always the funnest one, is the social committee. And that is normally where we get to meet every month and do happy hours. And we raise money for charity and we all get together and hang out. Well, we haven't been able to do that in person, for the past couple of months. I do think that there are ways that we can responsibly get together in a more social aspect, because I know we have so many great agents in the office, and I know that we all want to get together. So the social committee is going to spearhead that effort. So once this information comes out, you don't be surprised if you hear from one of these ladies about participating on one of their committees and helping out. It really is a great way that we can all work together as an office towards our bigger goals that we have. So congratulations, ladies, and I'm looking forward to working with you. All right, so I just saw Lori come in. Hi, Lori.
Hi, guys.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay, so I have your stuff up. I have the things that you sent me up. Let me find. Here's one. And where'd the other one go?
Yeah, I actually want to see the other one first.
Okay. Oh, I know. It's right here. Okay, so Lori's going to chat with us a little bit about compliance and how we can make sure that we are getting you paid in a timely manner.
Yeah. So it's kind of bad news, you guys. So if you, our goal is 90% compliance. And these are your actual numbers. And you guys, I hate to say, are head and shoulders above the other two market centers right now, which, at 50% of your new listings, in compliance in the proper time frame is half of where we need to be, right? Or little more than half. 40% listings under contract. Our month-to-date numbers are 58.33. We have a little issue with sell side under contract for you guys because we can't track it. So we're really asking you to be on your honor system and get those files submitted. But please understand that effective this week, because of the numbers and this ongoing issue with us not getting our compliance submitted in time, we're going to start implementing fines. It's in our P&G. We have a fine policy for non-compliant files. Rosemary takes compliance very seriously. And this is really to protect you guys. And I know on a day-to-day basis, you don't get that, but you can talk to your principal broker, talk to Beth about what's going on. The business is nuts right now. People are a little cuckoo and everyone's filing a lot of complaints. I'm on the grievance committee for One Key for Hudson Gateway. We're hearing a lot of complaints, and this is one way to keep yourself out of trouble by making sure that your paperwork is in order. So for P&G, we are starting as effective this week to implement fines. So you have 48 hours to submit your file from the date that it goes live in MLS or under contract in MLS. That's standard. We've been doing it that way. So if you put a listing in today, it's Tuesday, we will check it on Thursday for compliance. You should be getting email messages through Command that tell you the status of your file, or you can check your little bell in Command. It will tell you that the file has been looked at and whether it's been approved or returned. If it's returned, you have an additional 48 hours to correct and resubmit the file. In that time, in that 48 hours, you must submit the file for review. If after 48 hours, we don't have it back, you will receive a text message from my Twilio account and have an additional 24 hours to remedy the problem. So please take down my Twilio number, put it in my contacts so that if you're receiving a text message from this number, it's really important that you take a look at it, because it means you've got 24 hours before the $25 per day fine starts being put on your account. So the clock's going to start ticking from the time you get that text message. And guys, this is a week. It's a whole week to get your files up to speed, which we feel like is more than enough time. The fines are going to accrue at $25 a day. So it's really important that you're paying attention. This is critical. You must submit the file for review for it to be checked. So if we check it in that first 48 hours, it's not compliant, you're getting an email through Command. When you add the documents that are missing, you've got to submit it to us. We cannot go after and chase these files. If you think about, several hundred agents across 3 market centers, this adds up exponentially, and we just don't have time to go looking for the files. We have to get a notification that it's been submitted that we have a compliance request. So please get your documents in, fix whatever is wrong. And we know you make mistakes and things happen. So we've got, that 48 hours built in, get it resubmitted, you're good to go. If you get that text message, you got 24 hours. And again, we're not chasing it. You've got to submit it. The key here is communication. So I get that things come up. Your seller just went on a vacation to Peru, and you sent your lead paint disclosure with your kid for show and tell, and it didn't come home. I mean, we've heard all the excuses, but we understand that stuff happens. Please let us know. Use the little comment box in Command and say, hey, have reached out to my buyer. I totally forgot that form. Have not heard a word from him. I'm working on it. We are not going to play hardball with you guys and start putting fines if we know that you're working on that file. Now, if it's the same excuse month after month, file after file, we're going to kind of catch on to you guys. Like, I went to college, I get it, right? So please just.
How many times can my dog eat my lead-based paint
Well,
form?
you laugh, but my cat gets on my desk every day and tears up papers. Like, he literally ate my 411 2 weeks ago. I'm not kidding. So I get it, right? And you guys, I'm an agent too, so I understand about chasing and sometimes, you know, how difficult it can be to get certain people to cooperate. So, which brings me to part 5.5. We understand that, you know, you guys are chasing other agents, say lead paint is the big one. You guys have a few more disclosures. So if you're working with an ag disclosure or carbon smoke, anything that has both sides that need to be signed, we don't expect you to be doing other people's jobs and chasing these documents. So we put this policy in place regarding disclosures that must be executed by all parties. And obviously lead paint is the big one here because the others are less DOS important and I don't stress about them so much as the lead paint. So what we're asking is that you request the document in writing from the co-broke agent and then upload a PDF copy of the correspondence. So it can be a text message or an email, but you should always be, you know, covering your own butt in writing anyway. So just pop that in, you got to convert it to a PDF, pop it into the placeholder for that document. So we'll use lead paint because it's the one that's going to come up most. So instead of the lead paint disclosure, you're going to have a written sample of your ask. And then we're going to go ahead and I put here, we're going to mark the file as missing and return the file until you actually get the document, but obviously will not be subject to fines. I may be able to change this. I'm going to work a little prototype on that. We may be able to do a back end tag on it where we can just leave that document as blank and approve your file. And then tag it on the back end so we know that it's conditionally approved and we're still waiting for that document, because you may not get it. And if you don't, that file will be approved at closing without any issue. But, you know, as an agent, you should be asking a couple times for it and doing what you can to get it prior to the closing. For listing agents, the best practice is to upload that document to MLS. And I'm not as familiar with Columbia Green and Ulster, but I know in One Key we have a document section. I'm assuming you guys have something like that. Yeah, so put it out there so that, you know, and let the agents know, hey, buyer's agents, the lead paint disclosure is in the, you know, is in the documents. Please send it back to me. Remember, especially regarding lead paint, this form is supposed to be fully executed according to the Department of State on one document by all parties prior to signing a formal contract. So for you guys, especially who write contracts in up north, you know, you should be having this done at the home inspection, and prior to that, you know, it should be part of a formal contract. The attorney's copy of this does not cover your obligation as a real estate agent. They have their own obligation. So that's why we're asking for this. If you're representing a buyer, if you can go to the next slide, Rita.
Yeah.
This is a best practice for buyers, and it really covers you guys. So again, you're supposed to be doing this prior to signing of contracts. You're asking the agent for it, the listing agent, they haven't provided it. You don't want to get fined, so you've got a copy of your ask. You should also be doing this, providing this for your buyer. On the top, you pop a note in that says the seller failed to provide the completed form. Have your purchaser complete, not C, obviously, because they didn't. So that's not applicable, but initial that they've received the pamphlet, and you should always be sharing the pamphlet in, you know, electronically anyway. And then go ahead and initial 1 or 2 that they're doing an assessment or typically waiving the assessment. Sign it. Really important, I didn't put here, but make sure they date it. So if you have this done and dated prior to signing of contracts, if the listing agent doesn't send that lead paint until the closing day, you guys are covered. If there's ever an audit or a question about it, you'll be covered. Upload this with your ask and we can approve your file all day. Again, to protect yourselves, you should be trying to get the fully executed disclosures, and you can do this for any of the disclosures that you don't get when you're depending on another agent. So we will not be finding any files if we have some communication that you've asked for it and that you're covering your buyer, this is a way to, to protect your buyer. The seller side on the list, on the lead paint, it doesn't really matter because they've done their obligation. As long as you sent it out or provided it for the buyer's agent, again, you're covered on that. We just need a copy of the ask. Questions? Okay.
Me.
Not so fast, Lori. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
Of
please.
course.
Okay, so I have been told recently by agents from Berkshire and from Coldwell Banker that they are not doing the ag disclosure
Yeah.
or the
Carbon smoke.
say it again?
The carbon.
Yeah, carbon and smoke.
You know what? That's fine. We had talked about that. I talked with Beth, and if you'll notice, I updated your checklist so that those are conditionally required. Even the carbon smoke I put as optional, and the ag I put as conditionally required. According to New York State, the only time you need the ag disclosure is if it is in the ag district. Now, when we originally started doing the checklist with command and the required documents, I was told mostly by you guys, Columbia Green agents, mostly that was a standard of practice and it was expected. And that's why we put that on the required list. But again, believe me, I'm an agent, you guys, I don't want to play hard ass with you. If it's not absolutely required, I'm not going to be looking for it. So in that case, if you're comfortable doing it, understand if you have a property in the ag district, it's your responsibility to disclose that, or your sellers. So that is a conditionally required document that you should be providing if it is in the ag district. Otherwise, we don't need those, and the files will not be returned for not having them. The two big ones, the lead paint obviously is the big one. The sprinkler affidavit is a New York State law for rentals. However, I don't even bust too much butt around that one either, because there's absolutely no penalty, no repercussion for not having it. So from where I come from, a place of, risk aversity, God forbid, there's no disclosure, there's a sprinkler system that doesn't work and somebody dies in that apartment, you should just cover yourself, right? Just have that because it's the law. But the lead paint, Vicki, is really the only one that I'm concerned about. That is the big one.
So basically the lead paint is the only one that we need for a buyer file. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you need it for your seller file as well.
Well, no, I know, but I'm just saying, I mean, the seller file,
yes,
we usually
yeah,
send
fully
everything.
executed lead. If you're the listing agent and you choose to do your ag disclosure, because it does have a box to click, it's not in the ag district. So as a listing agent, your choice to do ag and carbon smoke, unless it's in the ag district. And again, you're on your honor, because I don't have time to chase properties to see if they're in the ag district. If you're a buyer's agent, don't worry about it. If they provide them, great. If you feel that you need to, cover your buyers, your responsibility, your buyer, then you could do a sample form like this, but I'm not looking for it from a compliance perspective.
Okay.
And I see there's a question in the chat, and thank you for bringing that up, Sabrina. So the property condition disclosure, and I know it's a little different for you guys, but again, this should be happening way in the beginning of the conversation with your buyer, right? So it's written into our seller contract that there is this property condition disclosure acknowledgement or property condition disclosure statement. That's the big statement. And you are, as an agent, your only obligation is to inform your seller or buyer that there could be a $500 fine, right? Fine to the seller, credit to the buyer. So you should be having that signed regardless if the seller is doing the form or not, because it should happen prior to the time that the seller makes that decision. Does that make sense? And it's just a disclosure. So on the list side, we've taken care of that for you. You should all be using our custom form. On the buy side, again, you're talking with your buyer, you're getting ready to write an offer and say, hey, there's this disclosure that the seller is supposed to provide to you with the contract. So it's coming back with your written contract, right? But they may choose not to do it. And if they don't, you're going to receive this $500. And they acknowledge that you told them that, and then off you go. If the seller provides it, great. If the seller doesn't, you've disclosed that they're going to get $500 at closing. That's all it is. So, but that's only on your side of the deal. So regardless of which side, you're not passing that disclosure, that acknowledgement back and forth. Now the disclosure, you're dealing with the actual form with your seller on, right? And in the South, where we are down in the HGAR, One Key, Rockland County area, we don't deal with that form at all. The attorneys do, because we don't write our contracts. So we never know. But if you're a listing agent, I get you guys have more information about that, because you know that you're going to be dealing with probably a contract. I know sometimes you deal with attorneys, but probably a contract on the buy side. So you still should, disclose to your seller when they're getting ready to decide if they're going to do that document or not, that if they don't, there's a fine and it's going to cost them $500. Does that make sense? Good. All right. So I'm sorry to have to bring this bad news to you guys. I hate it. And I'll be honest, of everyone, this is the best group for getting files submitted on time, and really doing your job, for, as much as you can. So again, we're going to be patient with you, but no more excuses. We have our concierge service now. I know you guys have all heard about it. It's working well. We've had some kinks that we've worked out. We're still working out some kinks, but in general, it's a great value. Stop chasing paperwork, especially some of you guys that are so busy and, out there generating business and, networking and as much as we can, and lead generating. You shouldn't be spending that time doing paperwork. Let someone else do it for you. You will never be fined if a cyberbacker or one of our, concierge people makes a mistake on your paperwork or doesn't get something in. That's not going to come back on you. So.
And Lori, just quickly, if there are 1 or 2 classes that you would recommend if agents want more information on required forms, how to function within the command system for compliance, what would you recommend?
Well, if you're a new agent, we're putting together a really good teachable curriculum that's going to take you through in little bite-sized pieces. Otherwise, I teach every week. I teach a different compliance course. So I have the series split up into listings, buyers, rental listings, and tenants. So I would suggest that you come to any of those. We do an overview of the command process and of the actual documents. I show you how to find which, recognize which documents are required. I have workflows set up for you guys. So I can point you towards the resources you need to figure out what you do or don't need.
Perfect.
Can I ask one more question, Lori? Can you just give us some clarification on where we're at with COVID required forms? I've had some questions lately. So what is Rosemary? What are we looking for?
It's still just that disclosure, that phase 2 disclosure. And people were saying, but we're not in phase 2 anymore. But real estate became, their rules changed in phase 2, and that's why that's called the phase 2 disclosure. That is the most up-to-date disclosure. It just basically says, look, if you've been living under a rock somewhere, there's this thing called COVID, and you need to know that there are some risks when you're out looking at property. So it's really not a very legal document as much as just a disclosure. It's required. Again, that is a form that if you have, we know a lot of people are refusing to sign it. You should be asking your home inspectors to sign it, your appraisers. If they don't, we mark it missing in the file, we move on. Just protect yourself and provide it one way or another. There was that new questionnaire with all of the new zones and so on. I sent it off to Kristen, asked her for some guidance on that. I didn't hear from her. So at this point, that's not something that we're putting back into play, that health questionnaire. So just that single disclosure.
Can I just say one more thing about
Yeah.
that? I have a client that works for ESD, and it looks like, the writing's on the wall. We're probably going to be shutting down again. So
Yeah.
as agents, start thinking about getting video tours of your properties that you have listed now, so we can, we didn't shut down. We were one of the few companies that didn't. So, and we can probably talk about that another time, but just keep that in the back of your head that the writing's on the wall.
Yeah, you should absolutely be preparing for another shutdown this winter. We're seeing every day about the cases on the rise, and I suspect that we'll end up with more documents and less in-person showing. So yeah, appreciate that too, Beth. It's good information. So just a question for you guys, because you're probably using command at the highest level. So I said that we were going to return those files if you were missing a document and you had an ask in place. So say you don't have your lead paint, you've popped in that you've asked your, the buyer's agent for it. Would you prefer if we approve the file and just left that document blank, because we can conditionally tag it on the back end? Or are you going back and looking at your files to see what's marked as returns as a reminder that you are still looking for a document? Just an idea of how you guys are managing your command on your side. Does it help to say returned if you're missing a document to remind you?
Yes, for me, it does as a new agent. Definitely helps because I'm not familiar with every single form. So when I'm in command every day and I'm looking at all of my people, I know which documents, oh, I forgot that one. I got to send that. So.
Okay, so we'll probably just return those documents, but I don't, again, on the other side, people panicking because like, oh my God, I'm going to be fine. But again, you've got to have your ask uploaded there, your sample form if you're a buyer's agent. We will put a comment in the comments that says, lead paint return incomplete, not subject to fines. And then you'll know that we're waiting on that. And again, if we get to the closing table, you still don't have it, shoot us a comment. Hey, I asked again 2 more times, didn't get it, and we can approve it for closing.
Sabrina, I think, had a question. Go ahead, Sabrina.
Hi everyone. On DocuSigns, I'm not being able to add the PCD. There's no PCD statement or disclosure to be signed.
So there should be an acknowledgement. I don't have the actual disclosure in the documents, again, because we haven't been dealing with that. I mean, you guys as listing agents, are you the ones sitting down recommending to the seller that they should or shouldn't fill out the property?
Oh.
Yeah, so then tell them, give them the acknowledgement that says, hey, there's this form out there, you should check it out, and tell them to call their attorney.
So what I'm saying is I can't upload it. It's not like, like you add all your documents to the room. You add the lead disclosure for everyone, to send off into your envelope and sign it. There's not one for PCD.
In the buyers group?
And the listing one.
No, because that's the point, is you're not dealing with that actual form. The attorneys should be consulting their clients as to whether they should be filling out the form, and they should get the form from the attorney. The acknowledgement itself is built into our listing agreement. It says, it gives that little spiel about the $500 fine, but the actual form should be gotten from their attorney, because there's a fine involved with that, and it's really illegal for them not to provide it. So we really want them talking to their attorney about whether it's advisable for them to provide it or not.
But Lori, I think the question she was asking was, there's no place to put it, but there is this place there where she could do at the top add another.
Yeah, you can add.
Oh, I see what you mean. I could just upload it
and then name it something.
Right.
But I thought the seller had to sign a disclosure anyway.
Yeah, but if you wanted to upload the PCDS to the file and have it there, you could just add it to the file.
Oh,
I'll talk to you offline to be sure that we're clear and you understand.
okay. Sorry.
I'll give you a
question
with Village Green.
All right. Thank you, guys. I gotta
Thanks,
go.
Lori.
I have to go bring my bad news to the rest of
The bad news train.
the
Pulling out of the station.
Bye.
So the good news is, what I took away from all of that is that we're the most compliant of all 3 of the market centers. So congratulations, guys. If you have questions, Lori is another person who's a wealth of resources and information. She's a great go-to. If you haven't checked out her compliance classes, they're excellent. There's recordings available on our YouTube channel as well, so you can catch up. And she's always feel like never feel like you can't ask Lori a question. She is always happy to get questions from agents and answer them and make sure that you guys are well versed in everything that is required to ultimately protect yourself. I'm sure a lot of you know this. Before I got into selling real estate, I worked in the litigation department of a real estate law firm in Westchester, and we litigated on these types of problems all day long. And let me tell you, it is not fun to be a real estate agent sitting at a deposition being hammered by an attorney about these forms. And at what point did you send them out? And what did you say? And how did you explain the form? Or why didn't you send out this form? Do you realize this form is required by New York State? So I know sometimes the compliance department can feel like, oh my gosh, they're asking me for all of this information. It's not to bog you guys down in paperwork. It truly is because we want you to have a complete file that if God forbid something happens and we were to have to go to a hearing or be involved in some type of a litigation, that we can take the file and say, we did everything right. And you can confidently sit there, right, at a deposition and say, we did everything right the way that we were supposed to do it. And so that's, the way that our compliance department has always run. So one other, just a side note, this is something that I always did whenever I send out a document. This is a good little legal hack. It's not legal advice. I'm not an attorney, but it is a good little tip. Whenever I'm sending out a document in DocuSign or Dotloop to be signed, I put in, when I explain what the document is, and then I put in, please review and let me know if you have any questions. If everything looks good, then sign. Okay, if you have something that so if everything looks good, then sign. That means when your clients are signing those documents, you would be under the understanding that they read them, they understood them, they had no questions, and that is why they signed, because you're explicitly telling them not to sign if they have questions on it. Okay, so that's just a helpful tip. When you're sending out a document, explain the document and then say, please review and let me know if you have any questions. If everything looks good, then please sign where indicated. Okay, so that's just a helpful tip. Go ahead, Beth, I saw you come off mute.
Yeah, I just want to say one other thing, that in this crazy market, people are bringing up frivolous stuff. So I'm on professional standards in Columbia Green Northern Dutchess, and just being the broker, some of you have been asking me questions.
Oh, she froze. Or did
Rita, I have
freeze?
a quick question before she unfreezes.
Sure.
Should we be copying? I'm copying all of my email transactions between my clients and sticking them in the folder. I mean, my folders are getting huge, but is that required, do you think, compliance-wise, so that anything that is said via email, if anything comes up, we've got it? Or
You don't need it in hard form, like in a printable form, but you should, like, your Keller Williams email address is powered by Gmail. Within Gmail, you can create folders for each one of your clients. That's historically what I always did. And that way, if it was a file pertaining to that file, I would just file it away. So if I ever was subpoenaed or brought to a deposition or something like this is popping up, I can just pull up the file, and I have an entire list of all the correspondence that went back and forth. Some people like paper files. I don't think it's necessary, as long as you have an email folder where you're retaining all of that information.
I have to learn Gmail better.
It helps you with inbox zero, which is another thing that I can talk about. I'll save that information for another day. Okay. There was one other thing that I wanted to say, but it escaped me. So what I'm going to do is, before we wrap up, I just want to run through a couple of things, and then we will wrap up for the day. All right. Give me 1 second. Okay, so as we know, Command and Connect are ever changing. And so some of you might have noticed that they have rolled out a brand new Connect homepage that has a ton of great information, as well as the live streams that they've been doing on a weekly basis. So we know we know locally that we have all of our classes across our Hudson Valley group of offices, right? But there's also a whole host of classes, live streams, resources for you, all housed within KW Connect. And so if you haven't had a chance, I would encourage you this week to take a look at the new homepage. This is what it looks like. And so there are articles in here. You can see this is a live stream that's coming up in 2 hours. Generate more revenue with sellers guides to command. These are the tech Q&A. There's a command Q&A. Tuesday, you can go across and look across the week at all of the live streams here. They're all right on this front page for you very easily. There are a number of marketing kits in here that you can use. So Designs in Command has updated again with Thanksgiving graphics. So again, you don't have to recreate the wheel on coming up with marketing or social media posts for your business. They always load in holiday graphics for you. They've also started a new client communication kit around a healthy home, and there's a series of posts that you can get from here and images. There are a number of scripts. They've been doing a script battle in KW Connect. So the scripts that the agents have been using are here. And also, if you're on Zoom all the time, especially if we're looking at another lockdown potentially happening, they did put in here KW virtual backgrounds that you can use on Zoom. So I would say if you haven't yet, go to kwconnect.com. If it's asking you to log in, it's the same login as you have with Command. And there is a whole host of resources, training, tools, and tips here for you there. Here comes Beth again. Hey, Beth. Let's see if she can hear me. Beth? Maybe not. Okay, here's a couple of other new things that are happening in Command. There is now a quick post option. So what they did was they put together a series of 6 different posts, and you can choose the graphic that you use as well as the text for the header for the post. So again, the ultimate idea being just to make it as easy as possible to have some content to continue to put out to your sphere of influence, onto your business page, just to keep yourself top of mind when people are thinking about buying or selling real estate. There's new email commands, email templates in campaigns that you can check out. You can now send emails straight from Command email. You can also connect it to MailChimp and send out via MailChimp. These are all new formats again, so you don't have to recreate the wheel. This is something that I believe I mentioned last time, but it's worth mentioning again. There is a way now that if you have in your opportunity, if you are utilizing the checklist feature within Command in your opportunities, you can also automatically send updates to clients based on the phase that you're in for that opportunity. So this can be a really great way to systematize your contract to close process. So for example, when somebody gets an accepted offer and you move them from searching to accepted offer in Command, what will happen is if you have your checklist set up, you can set up an auto email to go out to them that will say, you know, congratulations on the accepted offer. Here's my list of inspectors and attorneys, right? That's generally the next question that you get once you get somebody an accepted offer. So the name of the game is to give you some leverage and automate things so that you don't get bogged down in all of this contract to close process. So check that out. That's a cool new feature that's there. Like I talked about, there are some new designs in Command to take a look at. And the last thing that I wanted to cover before we wrap up today is that we are running a 4-week listing series of classes. It's 8 classes that we are doing across all 3 of our market centers. And today's class is happening immediately following this meeting on this link. And it's going to be a live listing presentation. I am hosting it. I will be working with Amanda Brem, who is one of the agents in our Middletown office. She's going to be the seller giving me a hard time about potentially listing her house for sale. And I'm going to go through how to do an effective listing presentation and close people to agree to work with you. So stay tuned if you want to take advantage of that class. That's happening now. And then we have another 5 more classes upcoming. All of the classes in this series are Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 to 12 a.m. So mark your calendar accordingly. We are going to cover upcoming classes are setting client expectations in the market of the moment, how to market your listings using command. I will be teaching that class again. I'm going to run you through from start to finish when you get a listing, all of the tools that you have access to in command in order to market it, okay, both in print and online. So I'm going to be joined by Eileen for that class too, who is our tech trainer across all 3 of our market centers, and she's going to help me with that as well. We're going to talk about negotiations, how to negotiate effectively in this market, how to use technology to increase getting listings, and then how to get client review, 5-star client reviews so that you get past and repeat clients. So stay tuned for all of that. Are there any other questions or anything that we can cover